Ekene Eze. I'm a developer advocate at Flutterwave. And today I'll be speaking about how you basically not just tracking everything and measuring everything, but ideally how we did this. My team did this at Flutterwave, and it wasn't enough. And we did a lot of iterations going back and forth, and finally something worked for us. And I'm really happy that I'm given the opportunity to share that with you today. So if you're asking, if you wanted to know why this is important, why we are even considering this topic in the first place, you're probably asking the right questions. Because measuring the impact of activities and communicating how it adds value to the company is a general challenge for DevRel teams. And the truth is, DevRel is really young, and a lot of us are still figuring it out. So there's really no golden rule at this time that specifies exactly what you should be doing in this role or what exactly is expected of you without making references to the particular organization and the particular structure and the particular activities that you are doing as someone in DevRel. So as a result, we are all kind of constantly figuring things out and doing what works for us individually. So some of the struggles that we go through, or that we did go through while starting off at Flutterwave, is what metrics we should track, right? Every person working in DevRel today and almost every other DevRel team has at some point in their careers, in their life cycles, asked a lot of these questions, and finding the answers is what drives us and what we keep on doing to continue to improve ourselves. And how do we measure our impact as well? Finally, how do we communicate the value we are creating to the company and to the people who are paying us to do this work? These are very important, especially for people in our field, because it is answers to these questions that helps you do well as someone in DevRel. It's answers to this question that show that you are doing well in your job. If you provide these answers very well, your company will appreciate you. The developers who you are representing will appreciate you. You will be fulfilled in the job that you do, and you'll feel happy knowing that you've done a great job of it. But the downside is if you are unable to overcome these struggles, it can lead to some unwanted outcomes, some of which are loss of confidence. Because when you don't know how to communicate your value or how to define the metrics that will shine a light on your skills, you can easily lose confidence in yourself, which could in turn result in imposter syndrome. Disbanding of teams also happens. I think even just within the period of the COVID-19 pandemic, we witnessed a lot of DevRel teams lose their jobs, and that's really even by the side. This could also happen as a result of you not figuring things out really well, knowing what should work for you, and setting up yourself and your team to really understand how to communicate your values, how to measure what metrics that should matter to you, and doing all of that. It could as well lead to loss of jobs. So let me quickly introduce you to my team. This is Raphael at my far right, and I'm in the middle, and here's Adiwale. We all joined Flutterwave at the same time, and we were the first set of people coming into the company as developer advocates to work in a DevRel team that previously didn't exist. So a lot of what we did was figuring out what would work, what wouldn't work, back and forth, and basically in this talk, I'm going to walk you through that journey, what we did, how what was wrong, what was right, what worked, and what didn't work, so that at the end of the day, probably you'll have a thing or two to learn from our experiences. All right, so I'll start with all the things we did. Joining Flutterwave. Flutterwave is a payments company in Nigeria that simply has a goal to simplify payments for endless possibilities. I like to call it the Stripe of Africa because we power most of the payment processing going in and out of Africa. So what we did when we joined Flutterwave was organize community events. Of course, this is what you would expect from a DevRel team in a new company that has products that are developer-centric. So you want to get into the community, you want to speak with your users, you want to tell them about your products and services and all you can do. We did a lot of that, and we organized hackathons as well because we wanted to target young developers who are still in tertiary institutions. We went and we had hackathons, and we had students all over there take part in the hackathons, use some of those products, give us feedback. How is it working for you? Is it going well? Is it not? We also did a lot of speaking at different conferences in and out of the country, and basically evangelizing about what we do, about the products we have, and then telling them more about what product is coming on and what's not. We wrote blog posts because you would expect that a DevRel team in a company that offers APIs and offers integration services with other services out there would, of course, be in charge of educating users and writing blog posts where they will learn about some of those things that we don't get to say at the conferences we attend and the community events we organize. Also, we provided support on all sorts of e-channels, Quora, Stack Overflow, Twitter, the developer forum, and all of these places where developers are domiciled and where they have questions about our products and services. We are always available there to answer these questions. All right, so it seems like we're doing a lot, I know, right? But the truth is, 6 months later, doing all of this, we started getting questions like this. I mean, it was time to do a bit of performance review and evaluation and all of these things that happen afterwards, where you have to report all you've done to the management. And we thought we were doing a lot and we thought we were doing enough, but apparently we got questions like, how does this contribute to revenue? What are the business implications? Why did we do this and that and that? And is it in line with what difference is it making? Is it in line with the business goals? And all of this. So at this point, we understood that we were doing what we should, but somehow we were not tracking any of the things we were doing, right? We're just doing a lot of things. So we're not benchmarking our activities against anything at all. But we know that every day we wake up, we go to the office, we do a lot of work, and we go back home exhausted, and we know we're working. But questions like this raised a lot of eyebrows and forced us to go back to the drawing board and rethink our strategy and try and find new and better ways to handle this. All right, so what did we do? You probably guessed it right, judging from the topic that I'm presenting. But yeah, we tracked everything, right? From how many readers we got on the articles, on the blog posts that we wrote, and how many users signed up from the conferences we've attended, because we attended a lot and we spoke at a lot. And all of these things, we kept on doing this, right? It wasn't a one-time thing. We finished one, then we work on the next one, and subsequently, we do a bunch of all these other things that we try to continue to do in the course of carrying out our activities. So we even monitored how much support we are providing on channels and social media engagement. How are we enforcing empathy? How are we helping people understand better? And even sentiment analysis that we all know how difficult that can be to track or to measure. But we tried as much as we can to do to cover up all of these things. And the truth is, it still wasn't enough, right? And it wasn't enough for two reasons. And the first is, metrics don't equate to value, so they only kind of help you see it. So, and at this time, we don't know what the value we are providing is. We just know that we are working and that we are tracking our numbers, but it doesn't exactly tell us what value it is we're providing for the company. So when we get that question, at this point, we still don't have that answer. Then secondly, we figured out that the company didn't quite understand what advocacy was, as at the time. The management didn't know what to expect from us because it's easy to get in a DevRel team and have them do some work for you. But then, as it happens at the time, we were the first team coming into Flutterwave as a DevRel team, right? So it doesn't exist before. So at that time, both us, our managers, the management team, we were all on the process of figuring all these things out on the way, right? So we realized that the management team doesn't exactly know what to expect from us. And when that is the case, when expectations are not defined, every result you bring on the table has a 50% chance of being either good or bad, right? So irrespective of what you do, you can't be confident, you can't be comfortable with the result that you've achieved. Right, so that's why tracking everything and measuring everything, and it wasn't enough. It didn't work for us. And then this is what we did. This is what worked for us. The first thing we did was go back to the drawing table and re-strategize again for the second time after 6 months, having been full-time staff working on this. We had to go back and redefine our purpose. And basically, it means we wanted to properly inform the company that we're working with that this is what we do and this is why we're doing it and this is why it matters. Because if they don't understand these things, you can do all the work in the world, and when it's time to evaluate and review, and they don't know that this is what they should be looking at when they are looking at all the work you've done, it won't matter at all, whatever you did, right? So, and usually this is really simple and easy. It just means coming up with a probably one-line statement that clearly answers these questions, and then communicating it effectively to your managers and to the management team. So with us, what we came up with was we work with Flutter of engineers on early stage products to offer delightful developer experiences to our users. This was easy. This was easy to assimilate. It's easy to tell someone that this is what you do, and it was easy for us to know that whatever we're doing in this company, whatever we intend to achieve, it is guided by this purpose that we've defined for ourselves. The next thing that we did that worked was setting expectations and goals for ourselves. The truth is, before now, before we got to this stage, we really didn't know what we're doing or what we're trying to achieve. We just know that we are attending conferences and doing all developer advocate related tasks, but we didn't know to what end, right? So at this time, we figured out we needed to streamline our activities and tailor them all to go towards a certain angle and to achieve a certain goal. And it could be anything, right? As long as you're doing what works for the organization you're working for and tailored to achieve the goals that you've set. And your set goals could be anything that would help you at the end of the day look through what your activities and see what you've achieved, right? So in our case, we did a lot of things, but it doesn't have to apply to you because, like I said, most of the time this is still relative to the company you're working for and the activities you're doing as a DevRel team. So it could be improving developer experience, it could be driving signups, it could be getting 1,000 stars on GitHub, send developers to Mars, pilot a rocket, really whatever that would help you achieve the purpose you've defined for your team. The next thing is to establish the metrics. I chose properly and intentionally to leave this out, what metrics it is, because I strongly believe there are 90% chances these metrics are not going to apply to you, depending on what it is you're doing. But basically, it is how will you know if you are working towards the set goals, right? In the step above, we talked about all the goals you need to set, and the metrics ideally are just there to help make it obvious for you that you are working towards the goals that you've set, right? It could be anything, right? It could be if the goal is to get a developer on Mars, what are you doing along the line between now and when that goal expires? What are you doing along that line to ensure that at the end of the day that developer is on Mars, right? Which is the end goal. So these metrics would help you keep you in check and keep you in the line towards the time you've set your goals and when you achieve it. And finally, report your progress, because sometimes what we found out was we were not proactive enough with our reporting, right? So we waited until after 6 months before we went back to report what we've done, and at that time we got all these questions about that we didn't have answers to, right? Which if we had done this earlier, we could have figured out that we're not doing the right things on time and probably taking measures to solve them and to make them better. So we did all of this, and I think this is what worked for us, because since then up until now, we've been operating properly on this structure, on this model, and we don't have any questions that we don't have answers to. And we learned a few things doing this. One of the greatest lessons we've learned trying to set up a DevRel team and getting a structure that would work for us and for the company we're working for was to always, one of the first lessons is to always involve your management, because at the end of the day, you're not working for yourself. As much as you're trying to do what you want and help developers and make the process of integration and everything easy for the end users who you are trying to make their experiences better, you still have to answer to the companies who are funding all those events, who are paying for the tickets to the conferences you're attending, who are helping you in every way possible professionally to get these things that you want to do done. And if you don't involve them, if they don't know what's going on and why you're doing what you're doing, it will interfere with the activities that you've set out to do, which are the goals that you want to achieve at the end of a specified period of time. Also, we learned that trying new things and doing them differently helped us a lot, because when we started, we went straight up to make some research, look at existing DevRel teams in other organizations, and we kind of followed a template, it seems, because we were the first and we didn't have prior experiences. We were all new to the field, and we figured, okay, we should really just check what other people are doing and do it. And we did that and it didn't work. So we learned that lesson here, that trying to do things your way, and maybe, of course, making research, finding solutions are very nice, but it's only as nice, it's only very nice, and it only works when you tailor it to your own particular organization, your own structure, so that you would know exactly what to expect. Secondly, find out what others in your position are doing. Tailor it. Exactly what we did. At the first few months, we went on straight up to go and make research and find out what similar DevRel teams in similar organizations are doing and how they are going about it. And even though everything we found out didn't exactly apply in our case, but we're able to, at the end of the day, pick all the things that we needed and then streamline it to align with our goals and our expectations. And it was just like a step further for us to get that initial idea of what to do, and then tailor it to what we needed in our team. Another good lesson was to establish clear communication lines internally. Most of the time, when in the course of doing the advocacy work, you need the team internally to help you out. In most cases, you need the engineering team, the sales team, the customer experience team. When you go out for conferences, when you get feedback, when you're trying to provide support, when you're trying to do, when you're trying to make sure that you offer developers out there using your product a great developer experience, you want to communicate directly with the people who are in-house, who are responsible for getting the things you want to be done for those developers done. Right. So we learned that this was really key in effectively doing our work, because if a developer comes to you with an issue or with a complaint that you can't solve on the spot, you would like to have someone in-house answering you immediately and on the spot at that time, ensuring that you're doing that, all the support you need is coming to you on the spot. Finally, one of the biggest lessons we learned was to always put developers first. Most of the time, most of the fights that we've had has been with our engineering team, making sure that we do everything. We see everything from the developer's perspective. So once a new version of the API is out, we are the ones checking, doing the QA for the developer experience, trying it out, making a few calls, trying to basically trying to experience it the way a developer would. And each time we go back and forth, we have to try and continue to put the ideas in, tell them that this has like this. Oh, we've already done this. Are you saying we have to redo this? And yeah, that's we keep doing that and making sure that at the end of the day, when this product goes live, developers don't have any issues at all using it. And a very good lesson as well is that it's okay to learn on the job, because that is basically what we did. We didn't come in with prior or previous DevRel experiences. We all came in at the same time and with zero DevRel knowledge. We learned almost all that we know now regarding DevRel on the job while we're doing it. So we did a lot of back and forth, a lot of trials and errors, and we asked a lot of questions. And it helped us not just tailor what we did, but shape the experiences that we offer to people who we are representing within the company. And I can tell you that right now, the team and our activities has evolved as well, because we've gone from what we were when we joined to where we are now. Community, tech support, developer experience, education and content. Now we help with APIs, optimizations, performance, and documentation. Most of these we didn't know or we didn't think we should do at the time we joined. But right now, this is what the developer experience team at Flutterwave domiciles in, and what we do the most, and where we try to put all our efforts in to make sure that at the end of the day, all the goals we have for all these activities are met. Um, what I would say to end is you have to do what works for you. Um, right now, developer experience and developer relations is spread out across multiple things. And there's a chance that what I'm doing at Flutterwave is totally and completely different from what you're doing at your company. And in that regard, nothing I say or whatever I put onto you that I'm doing and it's working for me, there's a chance it doesn't work for you. Right. So at the end of the day, you need to do what works for you. There's no golden rule yet. There's no standard generally what acceptable format to go about developer relations. And that is what I will leave you with. Do what works for you. Try and figure out what activities is required of you as a DevRel team in your organization, and then tailor all the things you found out and all your activities and all the ideas you bring in to achieving those set goals, and to make sure that you communicate it properly with your management team. So thank you very much. Matthew, if you have any questions for me, I will be ready to take that now.
Hey, Ekene, thank you so much for your talk there. I think my first question is around, you mentioned that you looked at what other developer relations teams were doing and other programs, what experience they'd had. Did you find that there were did you find that you got the most useful information from programs that were from companies like your own? Or did you learn from multiple different types of program?
So I think where we got the most effective information from were from companies who were doing almost the same thing that we were doing, and they had DevRel teams trying to help out. But that wasn't all. We tried reaching out to DevRel teams in existing companies like Microsoft and Google, and we had contacts that we spoke to in person, and they told us and they give us kind of like an insight on how they are going about this and how they did that. And one other thing that was very helpful was joining the DevRel team, the DevRel global team for developers who are for everybody who is in DevRel. There's a very huge Slack channel, that we joined, and we got to meet a lot more people working in DevRel and learning from their own experiences as well. But what worked the most for us while we were trying to see what other people are doing and how it's working for them was speaking with advocate and DevRel teams in organizations that did similar to what we were doing at Flutterwave.
Okay, and how long, you mentioned in the beginning that your management weren't necessarily sure what to expect from developer relations. So
Yeah.
do you feel that now that you've defined the purpose of the team and
Yeah.
your activities are more more well defined, that
Yeah.
the people in leadership at the company have a better understanding of what you contribute?
Yes, yes. That was particularly why we did the whole definition of purpose and goal setting and expectations thing, because we knew at the time that um, there was no way for the company and the management team to know that this is what we want or we need to expect from this team. So we created that document and we shared with the management team and we said, this is what the DevRel team is about. This is what you should expect from us. This is what these are the expectations. We did all the setting up by ourselves, and we made sure that we communicated that to them to know that at the end of the day, this is what we are, this is what we do, this is why we are here. And we I don't think most of the time, if you're joining an existing DevRel team, this wouldn't be a problem for you because there would already be something like that on the ground, right? So you would probably join and follow up with what your colleagues are doing. But if you're starting a new role, or joining a DevRel team where it doesn't exist before, I think it's very, very important that you do this and that you specify and clearly define what your purpose is and what you'll be doing, and just help the company and the management understand what to expect from you at the end of the day.
Okay, well, look, Ekene, thank you very much for your talks there and sharing with us your experience at Flutterwave. It's been really great to hear from you.
Yeah.
Now, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Twitter most of the time at Kenny_IO is my Twitter handle. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm always available.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And well, thanks for being part of DevRel on Earth.
Thank you very much for having me, Matt.